It's Friday night. What does that mean? It's time for the one and only high school football show in Southeast Michigan. It's time for the State Champs Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Give us a call at 248-539-9797 and sound off on tonight's games. Watch the live stream now on the State Champs Facebook page. Celebrating 7 years on the radio, talking Southeast Michigan high school football. And now exclusively on 97.1 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
Well, how about a big ow? The full moon is out tonight in the state of Michigan. It's week 8 of the high school football season. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to the State Champs Scoreboard here on 97.1 The Ticket. And you can check this show out on Facebook Live and interact with us as you see fit. First off, big props go out to our sponsors, Lawrence Technological University, Meyer, and Hungry Howie's. We have a couple of television shows that air every weekend. First off, State Champs Extra Point is the high school football show for Southeast Michigan. Airs at 10 a.m. on WXYZ Channel 7. We have up to 12 games of Week 8 highlights for you this week, and it's going to be an amazing show. Big plays. All the drama at the end of the games, and, of course, teams qualifying for the playoffs. So lots going on, and you need to check it out, 10 a.m. on WXYZ Channel 7. Of course, State Champs High School Sports Show. It's the first weekend of state championships, so we're actually going to have highlights, along with all the statewide football, we're going to have highlights of the girls' golf state finals as well as the boys tennis state finals. We cover everything on the State Champs Sports Network, and we'll have those highlights on Sunday at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit, and they also air throughout the week, so check your guide for the redates. I do want to also mention, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, our Tyrone Wheatley Legends show is continuing to replay on Fox Sports Detroit. The show will actually air tomorrow at 9 a.m. It'll air Sunday at 9:30 a.m. immediately following State Champs. Monday at 3:30 p.m. and also at 11:30 p.m. and then also on Thursday, October 20th at 1:30 p.m. This is kind of a look at Tyrone Wheatley and his rise from just a local boy in Inkster and what he was able to accomplish at Dearborn Heights Roboshop, which was really amazing in both football and track and field.
And it was great the third time around.
Yeah.
I watched it last week again.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad.
I enjoyed that. I thought we did a great job. I know I said this before, but Ty's super.
Yeah, super. And, of course, you see him on the Michigan sidelines now. Every weekend he is recruiting like a mad dog.
Yeah, he gets a lot of FaceTime on the sideline.
And when you look up some of those big recruits and who are going after him, a lot of times you'll see Tyrone Wheatley as the recruiter next to that name. He's doing a great job at Michigan, of course, his alma mater, where he was, among other things, the MVP of the Rose Bowl in 1993, I believe it was.
Well, there's just something about former NFL running back, one of the greatest to run at Michigan. He comes into your living room, he sits down.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Tyrone Wheatley. I played at a high level, at every level of football. Why don't you come and learn from me? I think kids start to listen when somebody says that.
And the head coach, Jim Harbaugh, he's in the tree right out back.
Yes. If you want to go outside, he's already built a tree house.
Yes.
He's got a fort. He's got everything that you could want. Come to Michigan.
Right. So those other voices you are hearing is Ryan Terpstra, of course, of State Champs, and does a lot of other things for Yellow Flag Productions, host and producer for us, as well as Tom Markowski, the guru of high school sports. Been covering it for 30-plus years. We won't date you that much, but he is well. He is healthy, I believe.
You know, I'm going through physical therapy, and today's the best I've ever felt. I do it 3 times a week, and it's real tough, but I'm feeling much better day by day, week by week.
That's right, Jim.
You gotta roll it back a little bit though, Lauren, because I mean, if you keep saying how healthy Tom is, he no longer has the crutch.
That's true.
If he says something crazy, you know, those rankings should always be with a grain of salt due to the pain and rehab that he's been going through. But now
those pain pills, all a thing of the past.
Yeah, he is 100% accountable for all of his picks. good or bad.
Just in time for playoff predictions.
Absolutely, and we'll get to those.
It's always a fun time to figure those things out.
That's right. Now, this show wouldn't be complete without you, and you can call us 248-539-9797 if you want to weigh in on a lot of the great high school football action that took place tonight. Of course, you can interact with us on Twitter, and we've got tickets to give away as well.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of prizes per the usual. Tonight, the pair of tickets that we're giving away are the Detroit Red Wings versus Carolina Hurricanes. That's for Tuesday night, October 25th. So if you want to go down to the Joe and check out that game, all you need to do is participate with us online using the Twitter hashtag that we've been using for the last few weeks, hashtag SC Scoreboard. That's the letter S, the letter C, and the word scoreboard. So if you use the hashtag SC Scoreboard and you leave a comment, maybe a score update, shout out, doesn't matter, you're automatically entered into the drawing for those tickets. We'll draw a winner at the end of the show. Plus, we're on Facebook Live. You're probably watching me right now, go through my spiel, and if you're on there, then leave a comment. If you participate in the discussion every week, it's been a really vibrant, good discussion on the Facebook Live chat. If you participate in the chat, you're automatically entered to win $50 to Blackfin, or we're drawing another winner tonight, $50 to Fifth Avenue in Royal Oak. So we've got two chances to win if you're participating, because we love our folks on the chat. They really add to the show, and we want to reward them. So $50 to Fifth Avenue, $50 to Blackfin on the Facebook Live chat, or go to Twitter, hashtag SC Scoreboard, and you're automatically entered into the drawing for the Red Wings tickets. Also, of course, we'll have a trivia question later on. Hungry Howie's free pizza's on the line there.
That's right, and we just want to remind you that if you do win these prizes, we want you to come get them. You got to come to our studios here in Southfield, not to the radio station, but to our State Champ studios, and we'll give you all the information about where we exactly are located.
Come on down, bring your baby.
Yeah,
I mean
that's
what our Red Wings winner did this week. He walks in with a 3-week-old baby. He's
that's
like,
right.
"Hey, I need my tickets."
No doubt about it.
I mean, doesn't matter if you're a dad. Come on down here.
Absolutely. And so we want to remind you, since these tickets are dated, if you do win these tickets for the 25th, and just so it's fair, so we can put them back in the pot if for whatever reason you don't want to come get them, Thursday, October 13th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 is kind of what we've laid out, but we'll get to that once you win. Do want to mention we've got Mr. Football candidate Cody White back with us, calling in. They are our 5th-ranked team in the state, Walled Lake Western. Scout.com's Alan True will be joining us. Former Detroit Denby, Southeastern, and Madison Heights Madison coach Drake Wilkins will be live in studio. We've loved having the coaches come in over the last several weeks. We'll have a conversation with him. Plus, we'll have the winning coach from tonight's Lake Orion-Clarkston rivalry game, and we know that that is Clarkston.
Kurt Richardson will be calling us. Yep. I was surprised by the margin of victory on that one.
And we're going to get to that in just a second. We are the SC Scoreboard. Plus, Scott Bernstein will call in. He's going to talk, among other things, the quarterback situation at Southfield A&T. Kevin Moore is also going to be along to discuss a new PSL playoff format. A whole lot more is coming up, but let's get to the scores.
That's right, gentlemen. Let's take a look at our top 25. Number one's going to stay number one. Detroit Cass Tech winners over Pershing tonight. 62-0 is the final there. Number 3, Utica Eisenhower is final against Warren Mott. They win 38-6. Muskegon out on the west side of the state had a tough one. I think they trailed at halftime at Mona Shores, but they end up winning 36-15. Well, Lake Western, as you mentioned, we'll hear from Cody White, and he was victorious tonight, 31-16 over White Lake Lakeland. Saline, they've been putting up big numbers. That didn't stop this week. 63-14 winners over Tecumseh. Lowell, for the second straight week, trails a Forest Hills directional school at halftime and ends up coming back to win. This time it's against Forest Hills Northern, and Lowell's victorious 41-34, so they remain number 7 there.
I looked at both those scores, and they were having a real easy time recently, Lowell, after having, they played a real tough schedule, Rockford and a bunch. I think those types of games are going to do them well when the state playoffs start. Nobody benefits. Like, look at Cass today, 62-0, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you.
No.
At this time, you want to be tested. Lauren, we're out tonight at the Dearborn and Dearborn-Fortson game. That was a real tough contest. And I think, granted, Fortson, I'm sure, is very disappointed. They're 7-1. But I think a game like that's going to help Fortson come 10th week, 11th week.
Well, spoiler alert, Tom, because right there, number 24 does take down number 10. Dearborn with the upset over Fordson, 28-23. But you liked Dearborn at the beginning of the year, did you not?
I had them in my top 20. Talking to Coach John Powell, They had a lot back from last year. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They actually were underachieved last year, but he had a lot of seniors, and he told me again this week, this senior class is really close-knit. And Lauren will tell you, they got some serious athletes out there.
Yeah, and they were fired up. The Dearborn fans were loud from the get-go. It's our Meyer main event this Sunday at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit. We'll also have the highlights tomorrow on Extra Point. Game you want to check out. Big plays, big plays.
Yeah, Mikey Phillips, that quarterback, I thought he had an average game. I just thought they had a real lot of good defensive plays that kept Fortson in their own zone. Fortson threw away a lot of scoring opportunities in that first half.
97-1, the Tickets' new high school football team that they're following closely, Birmingham Brother Rice, going into triple overtime, defeating Traverse City Central 20-17 is the final. Interesting enough, these guys were in double overtime. It was 10-10. They each score a touchdown and convert to get to triple overtime. Brother Rice kicks the field goal. I know Mike Valenti probably sitting at home with his legs crossed, waiting to hear the score come out of his radio. There you go, Mikey, 20-17. Mariano Valente probably the MVP of that game, because who else could possibly be the MVP?
And thanks for the shout out today, Mike.
We love you, Mike. Also, Temperance Bedford, our number 12 team, 48-0, shutting out Dexter. Rockford, they keep climbing the OK Red strong this year, 45-7 over East Kentwood, because right behind them is Granville at number 14, 42-0 over Caledonia. River Rouge, we got another 62-0 score as they beat Detroit Science and Math. Moving on down the list, Allen Park, 50-8 winners over Lincoln Park. Birmingham Groves, 46-0. They beat Farmington. Hudsonville, that third OK Red team in our top 25 rankings, 34-7 winners over Grand Haven. Northville wins versus Novi, 27-19 is the final there. Had a couple of top 25 teams battle as DeWitt takes down Menominee 48-14. And number 23 ranked Canton, 49-0 over Westland John Glenn. And then Romeo, they're in the top 25.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they'll be falling out of the top 25. They trailed 35-0 at halftime. Macomb Dakota ends up going away with this one, 45-7 is the final there.
Go figure out Dakota.
Shocking.
I mean, they lose to Chippewa Valley last week. Their season was really going downhill, and they're playing a team like Romeo, who was really playing well going into that game, and they just shut the door on them. We've seen Dakota play. We know that Dakota has a lot of talent, and maybe, there's still time. It's 8th week, so next week's 9th week, blah, blah, blah. You go into the playoffs, win a couple games. Who knows? Might have that momentum.
Well, we want to remind the listeners out there, if you want to discuss a game, give your school a shout-out. Make sure you give us a ring. 248-539-9797 is the number. Also, talk to us on Twitter. Make sure you use the hashtag SC Scoreboard to get entered to win those Red Wings tickets. Facebook Live chat's blowing up already. Just head to the State Champs Network Facebook page. We're going to break. We'll come back. We'll talk to Mr. Football. Cody White will join us next. It's 97-1 the ticket.
Welcome back to the State Champs Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Join in on the high school football talk. Call us at 248-539-9797 and watch the live stream on the State Champs Network Facebook page. Once again, here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
It is the State Champs Scoreboard Show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. 97-1 the ticket. I want to remind you, if you want to vote for our Mr. Football contest, you can do so online. StateChampsNetwork.com is our website. You head there, contests and promos is where you can find the Mr. Football website, and you can vote for your favorite in the top 10. It's been a pretty solid top 10 the last couple of weeks, not a lot of movement, and we've seen a few guys separate themselves a little bit in the fan vote, and one guy that's really made his case this year, guys, has been Cody White out of Walled Lake Western, because he's made his case not only at his spot that they're projecting him to play in college at receiver, or the spot he played last year, but also filling in at quarterback for his team, and he's got his team rolling and a big part of their success so far this year. Let's bring him in right now to join us here on the SC Scoreboard Show. Cody White on the line. And Cody, thanks for joining us again on the show. It's good to talk to you.
No No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Sounds like another victorious celebration for you guys. 21-14 you beat Lakeland tonight. Tom gave me the stats: 4 catches, 44 yards, 2 INTs on defense. So obviously, great job, Cody. Congratulations. And this was obviously, it sounds like a hard-fought win for you guys. You didn't have to play quarterback tonight, so that must have been nice.
Yeah, we had our guy back, and it was just good to have him back and have him throwing the way he was back at the beginning of the year, and just have all our skilled kids back with a powerful offense, and it just felt good to be back.
Hey, Cody, do you like playing quarterback? I mean, if you let's say John was not around, Tracy, and you had your choice to play receiver and quarterback. Do you like doing that?
Quarterback is fun, but I prefer playing receiver and playing. That's my favorite position to play on the field, and I just feel like that's where I'm best at. So I love John. John's headed up to Princeton next year, and he's a great fit for our team right now.
I got you.
It's good to have a smart guy playing QB, right?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Can you talk about some of your other teammates? I know Cam Ford had a nice night tonight. Talk about your offense and how you guys are clicking so far this year.
Oh, we got everybody just running the right routes, running the right on the same page, and everything's just flowing good. And we're feeling really good after this win tonight. We're feeling good.
Well, you obviously played well defensively, getting 2 interceptions. Are you playing every down on defense?
No, actually, I only went in the last 2 possessions, and I got 2 INTs. So it was a fun game for us.
Oh, so you shut them down at the end of the last 2 drives?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I watched you earlier in the season, and you were playing just about every down on defense. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I just came in the end. Me and Cam Ford and Justin Thomas, we all came in, and we just did our job on defense and got some INTs and helped our team get a win.
So, excuse me for not knowing this, but who will you play next week?
It's got to be Brighton.
Brighton, right?
It's between Brighton and Howe. I'm not sure who won that game.
Yeah,
Brighton.
Whoever we have, I feel we'll be ready for them.
Yeah, you're going to have Brighton next week.
Okay, yeah. They'll be a tough team, and we just have to prepare well and play up to our standards, and I think we'll be all right.
Cody White joining us here on the State Champs Scoreboard Show, one of our candidates in our Mr. Football contest. You can vote for him at statechampsnetwork.com. Cody, you guys had a really nice run last year, went deep into the playoffs. This year, your senior season, how are you feeling as you see the postseason once again on the horizon?
We feel good. We feel great, actually. I feel like we're going to make a run this year, and we've got to take it one day at a time, one game at a time, and I feel like we'll be able to go far in the playoffs this year.
Well, today, you had a close game against Lakeland, and Lakeland's not a great team, but I'm sure they're a good team. There's a close game. We were talking about this just a little while ago. Does a close game this time of year help you when you in your mindset and preparation for the playoffs rather than a blowout?
I feel like it does. I feel like it gets us ready for in the playoffs. We're going to have some close games, and we're going to have to fight through them. And we didn't play up to our normal standards tonight, but I feel like it was a good testing point for our team tonight.
Cody, as a senior, I know you'll probably be asked this question a lot after the year's over, but have you taken a chance to think about what you've really enjoyed about this year in terms of playing high school football?
Not right now. Right now I'm just focused on Brighton and focused on this next week and focused on playing with my brothers.
Right on. Hey, Cody, for those who don't know, Cody's dad is Sheldon White, who was the former Lions executive, so a lot of people remember him. How has he helped you in this process now as you kind of are going through your senior year and then, of course, looking forward to Michigan State?
He's helped me a bunch. He just keeps my mind right, keeps me focused on football, and he just handles everything that I'm not able to handle yet. He just guides me through the way, and it's great having him. Now,
you were actually at the Michigan State game last week, correct?
Yes, sir.
So what's going on? What's wrong? Play coach here. What's going on with the Spartans right now?
I'm not sure, but I know all the coaches up there are great, and I know they'll find a way to turn it around.
Spoken like a true future Spartan. There you go. Hey, Cody, good luck the rest of the season. Maybe we'll catch up with you again throughout the playoffs. I feel you guys are due for another long run. Congratulations.
Yes,
congratulations on the win right now. Congratulations on the fact that you are leading the vote in our Hungry Howie's Mr. Football race by a long shot. So,
thank you.
So obviously,
it's good to have friends.
You've got a lot of friends out there, hitting the vote for you, and you certainly deserve it. So, congratulations once again. We'll catch up with you down the road.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Cody.
All right, there he is, Cody White. And remember, if you want to vote for Cody White, which a lot of people have been doing, just go to statechampsnetwork.com, click on the Hungry Howie's Mr. Football banner on the homepage. It'll take you to all of our candidates. And again, right now, as of right now, 3,415 votes is where Cody is at. Ambry Thomas in second below him, of course, another tremendous player. And so we thank Cody White for joining us this list. And again, we do have an impressive list.
Yeah, Corey Malone-Hatcher from St. Joseph is also on the list. Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, he's got great stats. A lot of them only come after 2 or 3 quarters of play.
And they'll get better.
Yeah, Hamza El-Zayat out of Dearborn-Fortson. Ian Hall, another kid that's going to be making an appearance on Michigan State's campus coming up for an unofficial visit.
That's right.
Out of Granville. Jalen Kelly-Paulo, the talented player out of Cass Tech. Josh Ross from Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Khalil Pimpleton from Muskegon, and Tariq Reed from Davison round out our top 10 for our Hungry Howie's Mr. Football contest. Of course, we do have a watch list.
That's right.
We have some guys on the outside looking in, maybe could make a late season charge because you just need to get on the list because the fan vote is a big part of it, but then we also take other guys to round out the voting and finish with our top 3. And some of the guys on your watch list, Tom, let's talk about them a little bit. One kid put up a lot of numbers last year. He's doing the same. Jared Smith, the running back out of Pauama, Westphalia. Small school, they can't ignore what he's been able to do on the ground.
You know, I think the same thing about Blake Dunn out of Saugatuck, another player on that watch list. I think both those players, you know, because of where they're at, they're kind of hurt by the competition they play, but if you look at their scores, they're just blowing people out. And both those players obviously aren't playing the whole game, so their stats could be a lot higher. They're almost caught in a mousetrap there. They're stuck where they're at. But, you know, you can't knock either one in the success both those kids have had.
Well, and both those kids might be on a collision course for each other in the playoffs.
And it's possible we're looking at Snooze to you and his predictions. If it's correct, they would, in everything goes right, you could see them in the state final.
And it's so difficult to narrow it down to 10 players when we're trying to figure out who the best are in the
Jarius
state.
Grissom out of River Rouge is another player.
Look at what they did tonight. Shante Sudduth out of Jackson, who has had ungodly numbers as well. That is the watch list. We do want you guys to know that just because we're in Week 8 does not mean that we are not going to still put people in. And as Ryan mentioned, sure, the winner of the online vote is automatically guaranteed in the Final Four, but we choose the other 3. So let's say Jared Smith gets into the top 10 here in the next week or so. He could have a shot at being in the Final Four. We are trying to figure out who is the best football player in the state, and that is how the Hungry Howie's Mr. Football race works. And, of course, we have a formula. You could check it out on our website. It's all right there for you.
Yeah, and if you want to call in and tell us maybe who we should be watching out for, we'd appreciate it. 248-539-9797 is the phone number. And also get on Twitter. If you use the hashtag SC Scoreboard, that's another way to let us know who's doing what out there. Throw us some stats. We'd love to take a look at it and banter it about them. Maybe they'll end up on that top 10. You just need to be on the official list. That's the goal by the end of the year. And then if you got a nice playoff run, maybe you show up big at Ford Field. We've seen late season charges before help lock up this award, and that's all you need to do. So give us a ring, 248-539-9797. We'll take your call, and we will bandy it about, man. And we still got a couple weeks before the playoffs start.
No doubt about it, and we won't pick our Final Four until mid-November, so you will have time to continue to vote for your guys, and the vote does matter. So again, statechampsnetwork.com. Real quickly before we go to break, let's give you tonight's Twitter poll question of the night. This provided by State Champ's own Jeff Dulac. Which current undefeated team has had the toughest schedule so far in the 2016 season? Is it Cass Tech? Is it Detroit Catholic Central? Is it Utica Eisenhower? Is it Saline? Is it Lowell? Or is it Dearborn-Fortson? That is the list. We want you to go to our Twitter handle, which is @StateChampsNet, and vote in the poll. We'll give you results later in the show. All right, so we are going to take a break right now. We have got a former coach who is going to sit in with us and talk about everything high school football. We love doing it. We love doing it with the coaches. They're great. We got to get our shoulders limber as we'll, I'm sure, have to do some up-downs as he enters the room. So,
you guys do the up-downs. I'll just take time.
All right, right on. This is the State Champ Scoreboard here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the State Champs Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Join in on the high school football talk. Call us at 248-539-9797 and watch the live stream on the State Champs Network Facebook page. Once again, here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to State Champs Extra Point here on 97.1 The Ticket, and we appreciate you guys being with us here. We are got a special guest here in studio, and we're going to get to him, Drake Wilkins, right away. But first off, we got a phone call, and it is Jose calling from the city of Adrian. And Jose wants to talk about somebody who he feels is having an excellent season, maybe should be considered in Mr. Football, I'm guessing. Is that correct, Jose?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, this is Jose. I'm looking for Andre Williams, man. I seen this kid. He's been practicing all summer, all winter, and they lost today, but, man, he does it all, man. He's like the Peppers of Madison High School.
Wow, and we're talking about Adrian Madison High School.
Yes, Adrian area. But
Okay.
the school's Madison High School Trojans.
Small school.
Yeah. Yep.
What are his stats like, Jose, and what kind of positions does he play?
Running back, receiver, kick return, DB. Like I said, he just does it all around. I've seen him practice his butt off. I mean, he just deserves it. You know, like I said, they lost today, but, man, he played his heart out. You can't measure his heart. You know what I
Is
mean?
he a senior?
Yeah, he's a senior. I just wanted to get his name out there. He deserves the.
Hey, that's great.
out there.
That's what this show is for. And thank you so much, Jose, for giving us a call and shouting out your man. And we appreciate that. And thank you so much. So
Yeah, have a good one.
all right, you too. You too. All right, so right now it's time for our special studio guest, and it is Drake Wilkins, who is former coach at Denby, former coach at Southeastern, and he was also the former coach at Madison Heights Madison. Coach, for those who have been wondering, what's up with Coach Wilkins? Where are you now? What are you doing now?
Watching grandchildren.
Exactly. I'm a bona fide granddaddy right now.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time with my grandson and trying to pay my wife back for 37 straight years of coaching.
Right.
So this is the first summer I've had off in 37 years, so payback time.
You look relaxed. You look relaxed. So
Yeah.
have you had an opportunity to keep up at all with what's going on in high school?
I watch a lot of PSL games during the week because they're close by.
Right.
And I kind of keep up with the Macomb County area teams on Friday night because the 7 o'clock game.
Who do you have you seen out in Macomb County?
South Lake,
Okay.
Lakeview. I'm really impressed with the turnaround in Lakeview.
Okay.
this
Pat
year.
Treat's one of my better
Yeah.
guys.
Big time job.
Yeah.
You know, they're very competitive. They playing hard.
They play
Yeah.
a simple style football, don't they?
Smash, man. You know, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, so they headed in the right direction.
Yeah, they
I'm
are.
looking for them to do big things.
Do you feel like in high school football now that some of the schemes and offenses have gotten too complicated and that maybe we're overthinking things in this era of football?
Well, you talking to the wrong guy. You know, I'm old school.
Right.
Okay, so everybody wants to run the spread offense. Okay, and depending on your personnel, if it suits you, okay, more power to you. But I like to see people line up in that traditional offense and just go at people. Traditional defense and just pop somebody. You know, so you don't see a lot of teams doing that now. And in a sense, I kind of think they're cheating the kids from the basic fundamentals because the concentration, the learning is not the same as it used to be. A lot of the schemes, it appears that they just find the best athletes and just find a way to get them involved. The traditional way, you actually needed all 11 players in order for it to be successful.
And become better football players as a result.
Exactly.
You know, one of the things that Tom shared with me, and I was surprised, is that you did not win a PSL title while at Denby.
I'm first.
Hey, just because you get to the Super Bowl and don't win doesn't mean you haven't had a good season.
That's right.
Exactly. The joke I told Tom was I'm first cousin to Jamal Levy. Yeah.
Right.
So I was there 3 times. I lost to 3 extremely good teams. 1 year Crockett. We didn't have an answer for Brandon Graham.
Right.
We lost to King 1 year. We didn't have an answer for Nick Perry. So the games that I lost, they were understandable.
Coach, you got to stop playing NFL guys. That's your problem.
Exactly. And maybe if I can get one of those NFL players on my team one time, maybe the odds have changed.
Didn't you have some NFL players play for you?
It's been a minute. Bart Scott played for me at Southeast.
Right.
And, he's
tremendous.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens, right?
Was he as loud for you as he turned out to be when he was a pro?
Actually, he didn't talk that much because I didn't allow it back then.
Right.
So all that pent up, all those things he had to say, he got to let it out on Hard Knocks, huh?
Yeah. He really got to be a talker once he got to the NFL. I think that's a part of his gamesmanship.
Great football player. One of the things Tom and I were talking when we were going to have you on tonight is also you had an opportunity to see Detroit, PSL football, the style of football, the types of players in the play, but also then got a chance to play suburban schools while you were at Madison. What's the biggest difference, you think, between playing, say, a real good suburban team and a team from the city?
The first thing that pops out to me is the kicking game, okay, because most suburban teams have soccer teams, so they usually have good kickers, and that's usually the Achilles heels with, public school teams. You see a lot of times the more talented athletes in the city, and that usually takes them quite a ways in the state tournament and so forth. But usually when the weather get bad, the teams kind of even out. It's usually a team that has the best special teams and kicking game that usually makes the difference. I think in the city they're making great strides in narrowing the gap, but it is a big advantage for the schools that have soccer.
Hey, I like Cass's kicker.
I think Cass has an excellent place kicker.
I got a chance to see him against King, and they have a lot of confidence in him. Granted, he missed a couple chip shots on field goals, but they sent him out there. They felt like he had a chance to make him. So that's half the battle in my mind. You have confidence in that kicker and send him out there.
And the ones that he missed, he hit them well.
Right.
Okay.
Just pushed
it went like it was Shanks.
Right.
He got a good thump.
Coach, what do you think about that dynamic, that battle between Cass, King, East English Village has been mixing in there? It's been a really tough one throughout the years. It seems like they have battle-tested each other, especially last year when you saw Cass and King both make it to the Division I and Division II state finals.
Personally speaking, I think Cass is in the league all by themselves. Okay, everybody else is playing for the second place spot. With
You're talking about this season?
Yeah, with this season, with Donovan People-Jones, I mean, there's no answer for him, to be honest. You just have to hope that he has a bad day. I really think he's just that good. And I saw a lot of players come through the state, especially at the receiver spot, but I think he's extremely special. Plus, Cass has numbers, size. They have everything that you could ask for. King is a talented team, but they're a little younger than what they were last year, okay? East English, I think, is a step away. Okay, so really, I think, like I said, I think Cass is in the league all by themselves. I really expect for them to go all the way.
Even when we started state champs, which was 2002, you had a number of teams which you think could challenge for the city championship, and now we basically are relegated to 3.
Right.
Renaissance for a time would be competitive, but the other schools are just so far behind now. It's really it's unfortunate.
Even when you were coaching, Drake, and when you coached Denby was always,
Southeastern
go back to
was
1992 or 95 or all through those years. Denby was that big school on the east side that could thump you.
Well, the city has kind of been depleted,
right?
Okay, with the rise of the charter schools and with parents feeling that it's a much safer environment or whatever to take kids to the suburbs. So that's why you have so many schools now with a population of 300 kids or whatever. So
Yeah, that's the situation at Southeastern now.
right. So it's hard for those teams to be competitive because they just don't have the numbers.
Right.
It's true, and it's unfortunate. Drake Wilkins is here talking to us about high school football. Do you want to get back into the game? Will there be a time when you are released to enter back into this fray?
As soon as possible.
So this is just a short hiatus.
Yeah,
Brief hiatus.
pretty much so. You know, I'm looking to get back involved, but I want to make sure it's the right fit because I feel like this is my last go round. You know, so wherever I land, I'll probably actually retire. Okay, from this last position. So, but soon as possible.
Yeah, and you look at a guy like Bob Lancey, who you know, is back. He's at Stony Creek. I mean, it's re-energized. You know, sometimes that little bit of a break, and you come back with a whole new vigor. You know, to get back at it, because you know we need good coaches. You know, it's so important to
like we need good officials.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother conversation.
Coach Wilkins, what do you really enjoy about coaching high school football? I mean, obviously you want to get back into it. What about it do you really enjoy in terms of impacting these young men's lives?
Saving young men. That's right. Taking a little boy and turning them into a young man and getting them to realize that very few are going to go to the NFL. You know, it's not going to be a lot that even going to go to the next level and play collegiate football. But if you can touch their young man in such a way that he can be a good father, a good husband, a good citizen, mission accomplished.
Right on. Drake Wilkins, we appreciate you being here.
Okay.
It was a good conversation.
Thanks, Drake.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
One of the good guys in the business. And it's sorry to see him on the sidelines. It's like, you need some kind of, polo shirt that represents that school that you're, standing on the sideline for. But it's coming.
Go ahead.
Coming.
Let me say one last thing.
You got
I'm thinking about your top 10. Okay, you spoke on the kid, Jared Smith. Legit.
Yeah.
He's big time. You don't see or hear a lot about him because he's up north. Okay. The second coming of Larry Zonka.
Really?
He's real. He's legit. Okay. And there's one other kid that's under the radar. His name is Charles Trey Kane over University Liggett in Grosse Pointe.
Oh, yes.
29 touchdowns.
I wrote about him this past week.
He's on our website right now. Yes. Exactly. Thomas Ketchum.
He's going to Colgate. When I see a kid go to Colgate and turn down, Mid-American Conference offers, I'm thinking this kid's got something.
He's special. He's special.
Yeah, he's a
all
big
right.
kid too.
We want to reset our Twitter poll question before we take our timeout. And we added a couple extra teams when we gave it out. So which current undefeated team has had the toughest schedule so far in the 2016 season? We've limited it to 4. So it's Cass Tech, Catholic Central, Utica Eisenhower, and Saline. That is your choices, and we will get to that coming up later in the show. We'll give you the full results as we get them. All right, we're going to take another timeout. When we come back, of course, Scout.com's Alan True will be talking in the Recruit Report. Got some good guys to talk about and guys that you need to have on your radar when it comes to where they're expected to go play at the next level. So stay with us here. This is the State Champ Scoreboard on 97.1 The Ticket.
Back to the State Champ Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Join in on the high school football talk. Call us at 248-539-9797 and watch the live stream on the State Champs Network Facebook page. Once again, here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
Well, once again, we want to thank Drake Wilkins, the former Denby, Southeastern, and Madison Heights Madison coach, for coming in and sitting with us for a few minutes. And, for those who remember Drake, he is always had his teams play at a high level. When he went to Madison, he really turned that program around. And they played really, really well under him. And
you can see why. I mean, the passion in the guy's voice, obviously his commitment to the kids. So,
loves that smash mouth style.
you can see it lights up in his eyes. He's talking about just lining up and going toe-to-toe with the other team.
And there's something about saying, that this is how kids learn how to play football. They learn how to tackle.
It's the greatest team sport because you need all 11 players working in harmony to be successful. Somebody does not do their job, the play is not successful. And I think what he's saying is that football is going to more of an individual sport as much as it can, where you just kind of pitch it to a guy and then run around until something happens.
I'll tell you, when he was saying those words, it's going through my mind. I'm thinking, you know what? He's absolutely right. And the thing is, I don't know if I can knock those coaches by doing just that. If they want to win, it's like, man, my John Smith over there just broke that last tackle on last play. I'm going to give him the ball again. It's that type of philosophy. Where Drake is saying, no, let's do the 11-man thing.
Who's our number 2 team in the state?
I'm going to take a look at them on Sunday.
Right,
Detroit Catholic Central.
That's right.
And they haven't changed much, but they have changed a little. And Mac, when he has a good quarterback, will throw the ball.
Yeah, but
and
still,
he does have a good quarterback.
They emphasize that team game for sure,
no
working
question.
all 11 guys. All right, guys, I want to quickly tell you that we have a couple of television shows airing this weekend that we want you to check out. First off, State Champs High School Sports Show is on Sunday at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit. That is a statewide show. We'll have state finals highlights from this weekend's boys tennis and girls golf. Of course, lots of statewide football. And Southeast Michigan's high school football show. All the other big cities in the state have their own high schools football shows, so we have ours. It's called Extra Point. It's on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on WXYZ Channel 7. And how about some scores from games that they'll see tomorrow?
Yeah, one that was really a showdown that will be on Extra Point tomorrow morning. See how the triple overtime game panned out for Birmingham Brother Rice. 20-17 winners over Traverse City Central. Bloomfield Hills, one of the surprises this year. 42-16 winners over Berkeley.
Yeah, wow.
8-0.
Yeah.
Wow.
Clarkston, 45-16, beats Lake Orion in that battle. Brighton, 41. They beat Howell, 41-20. That means Brighton's going to play Walled Lake Western next week.
Correct.
Northville beats Novi 27-19. Utica Eisenhower 38-6 winners over Warren Mott. Richmond beats Algonac 28-13. Hamtramck 46-6 winners over Harper Woods Pioneer. And then Linden beats Holly in another close one. 30-27 is the final there. You can see highlights from all of those games coming up 10 a.m. on State Champs Extra Point, locally on Channel 7 ABC. And to talk about some of the top players as well throughout the state of Michigan, it's our recruit report. Every week we bring in Scout.com's Alan True, and this week is no different as we welcome him into the State Champs Scoreboard on 97.1 The Ticket. And Alan, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Hey, doing well, sir.
Well, I know that you are out watching Recruit, as you normally do on a Friday night, and this week, Berrien Springs, not a place that you normally go to find top-level talent, but that's who you were watching this evening, so fill us in on who you were checking out and what you saw.
Well, here's a funny story for you, Terp. It was actually who I saw tonight was the deer that ran across the road that I hit.
You hit it?
Oh, no.
It ran into me.
Did it have good 40-yard speed, though?
Oh, that thing was moving. I couldn't get a good hand time on it. I don't know if it had the wind with it, but it was moving.
Are you okay?
Yes. Are you okay, Alan?
I am just fine. The car, not so much.
Not so much.
Wow.
But happy to be able to be on the report tonight. But I can't tell you a ton about how Philip Paya did tonight.
Oh, no.
Well, what do you know about the Berrien Springs defensive tackle? He's been scouted for a little while, and I know that seeing him in person is always a big advantage. But what have people said about this kid? Because, of course, he's been a top target in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, when he first came on, he was like a running back, fullback, and a linebacker. So he's gradually moved towards the line. And I think you like big guys who have experience in some of the skill positions. He's kept the athleticism. I think that's what stands out most is you're getting an athletic kid in a big guy's body. And he can play either side of the ball. I think Michigan's going to plan on trying him out on the defensive line first. But I tell you what, he's had a dominating season. Just watched his huddle this week. He's had a really, really good season as a guard. Could see guard or center at the next level. Could see defensive tackle. Maybe even the way Michigan plays their defense now, maybe a little bit of strong side end. So I think you just like having a kid who gives you some different options, and he certainly does that. And they have him and Corey Malone-Hatcher coming in. You don't see Michigan going into Southwest Michigan too much. as a recruiting area, but they got 2 guys coming in next year, and I think both of them are really, really good prospects.
Well, it just shows you how long their arm stretches. I mean, a lot of times, there isn't that type of talent. But another big kid who's having a breakout year to extend is Rob Hudson over at Walled Lake Western.
Big kid.
Now here, I was going to say he's as big as a deer, but actually I think he's bigger than a deer. But he's a kid that really didn't get into football until his sophomore year. I see a big kid like this just getting better and better. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. He picked up football late and then picked up offensive tackle late. He played defense all last year, his junior season, realizing that his potential and his college future was going to be more on offense. He spent the whole season working with the coaching staff on learning that position, and he's been a really, really quick study. I got to see him week 1, and I thought he did really, really well for that being his first game at offensive tackle. But then you watch his film from the last few weeks, and you can see the accelerated maturation at that position. So Purdue catches them on the upswing, and I think they got a really good one, and maybe a guy they're going to have to fight to hang on to a little bit. I think as more schools see what he's done this season, he's going to hear from some others. He camped at Michigan State over the summer, and I know there was some interest there, but at the time, you're looking at a kid who was a lot different in June than he is now. But you can't teach 6'8", you can't teach 315 pounds, you can't teach the way he plays at that size. I mean, he is a strong, physical football player, and like you said, about as big as a deer. So I hope Rob Hudson doesn't run into my car next week. But I think he'd do just as much damage probably.
Would you say that's a soft commit to Purdue?
I don't think it is at all. I think he's very committed at the moment, but you never know what will happen after the season if some of these other schools start coming in. So at the moment, I don't think Purdue has anything to worry about other than maybe projecting ahead and saying, this kid's having a heck of a year. We may have to protect that commitment a little bit down the line.
Make a few more trips to see mom and dad.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They might have to do that here.
Hey, Alan, forgive me if I say his name wrong, but to talk about the wide receiver at St. Clair Shores South Lake, I think it's Jared Vines or Gerard Vines?
Yeah, Jared. He's,
okay.
A kid who, I wanted to highlight just because I don't know if he gets the attention he deserves over there at South Lake. Huge season last year as a sophomore, and by all accounts is going to eclipse those numbers this season. I mean, he puts up some monster numbers, and he really scores in about every way that he can. They do a little bit of wildcat with him. He's a return guy, but a lot of his damage is done at wide receiver, where he can really do some things in the open field. He had a really good sound mind, sound body camp last June and caught the attention of a lot of schools. He has an early offer from Toledo, but I know he's been up to Michigan State a few times, and they're looking at him. A couple other Big Ten schools have shown him interest, and now today's spread offense is where you want guys who can take short passes and go the distance with them, make people miss in one-on-one matchups in space. This is a kid who can do it, and I think he's going to pick up a lot of interest this offseason, too. I think he's one of the guys around the state who I think doesn't really get enough attention based on his production and his talent level.
Alan True from Scout.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Alan True. That's Trieu. Before we wrap up with you, Alan, Country Day. It's good to be at Demons if you're coming off Detroit Country Day. This is Colin Demons' time with his football team. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, if you've been following high school football or recruiting in Michigan for a few years, you'll remember his brother Kenny, who also played at Detroit Country Day, then played at Michigan, and played in the NFL for a little bit. So Colin's coming up behind his brother, also a linebacker, but maybe a little bit different than Kenny was. Kenny was this big, kind of stocky tank of a linebacker. Colin's a little bit longer, leaner, probably more of an outside prospect, where Kenny was truly a Mike. But both great football players, just different body types, different styles. And Colin is having a really good junior season, had a good sophomore season, and that's when the recruiting attention really started. Nebraska was his first offer, which is kind of strange for a Michigan kid to have Nebraska be the first one, but they came in and offered him, and that kind of kicked things off. Eventually, Michigan did offer, and obviously with some of the history there with his brother playing there, Michigan's going to be one of his top schools, but he's not closing himself off to anything. I think he's got 5 or 6 Power 5 offers right now. Has been really open to going out and visiting other schools, but 6'3", 205 pounds, long arms. He really fits the bill for today's outside linebackers. We just talked about Vines being able to do things in space. On the other flip side of that, defenses need to be able to counteract that by having athletic linebackers who they can move over a slot, who can play in space. And I think Colin, after seeing him a couple of times in person now. I think he's a kid who can do that.
You can check out Alan on State Champs. He does the recruit report there. Follow him on Twitter at Alan True, and then joins us every week here on the State Champs Scoreboard show as well. Alan, thanks for joining us today. Even though your car's playing a little bit hurt, we're glad that you are fine as well. And stay safe out there. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, appreciate it, guys. I'll be back out there with a new vehicle next Friday.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Al.
Alan True joining us here on State Champs Network. Just want to let the people know that you can interact with us on Twitter, hashtag SC Scoreboard. You throw it out there, you can qualify to win Red Wings tickets coming up on October 25th. Scott uses the hashtag SC Scoreboard to tell us that Ferndale clinched their first playoff berth since 2008 with a 29-28 win over Royal Oak. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Scott. You're in the drawing. Maybe you win those Red Wings tickets. Also on Facebook Live, you can chat it up, talk about high school football, and you're automatically entered to win either $50 to Fifth Avenue in Royal Oak or $50 to Blackfin. Matt on the Facebook Live feed wants to let Tom and Lauren know he loves your sweatshirts, guys. Way to rep the brand. So a lot of good football talk
it was
over there.
chilly on the sidelines today. I made use of this one.
Hey, I do not blame you one bit.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Keep it coming. We got another hour to go here on the State Champ Scoreboard here on 97.1 The Ticket. When we come back right off the top, we're going to read tonight's trivia question where you can win a free Hungry Howie's one-topping large pizza. So stick around. We got a lot more show to go right here on 97.1 The Ticket.
It's Friday night. What does that mean? It's time for the one and only high school football show in Southeast Michigan. It's time for the State Champs Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Give us a call at 248-539-9797 and sound off on tonight's games. Watch the live stream now on the State Champs Facebook page. Celebrating 7 years on the radio, talking Southeast Michigan high school football. And now exclusively on 97.1 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
All right, everybody, we give you a chance to win some free pizza right now. It is time to give you tonight's trivia question, of course, brought to you by Hungry Howie's. And Tom came up with a good one. Here it is. If you know the answer, you'll be the first to call 248-539-9797. What was the last year playoff points were the first determining factor for making the playoffs? So not 6 victories, but playoff points. What was the last year that playoff points were the first determining factor for making the playoffs? If you know the answer, give us a call, 248-539-9797, and you've got a free one-topping Hungry Howie's pizza coming to you. So check it out.
Our next guest cannot guess because he probably knows the answer.
Probably
sure
does.
He was around back then.
Yes. So we normally bring in a victorious coach to talk about their team's victory, and this week is no different as we welcome in Coach Richardson from Clarkston to the SC Scoreboard show. 45-16 winners over Lake Orion. Always a big battle when those two schools get together. Coach, thanks for joining us here on the program, and congratulations on the victory tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a fun night.
Yeah, I bet it is. Always fun to beat Lake Orion.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for those guys over there, and they do a great job. Their program, and we've had a lot of great battles, and it was a great night for high school football.
Well, Coach, talk about this year's version of the Clarkston football team. We've all been just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen. Things are shaping up now. We're in week 8, so we're getting ready to make a push here for the postseason. Talk about this team, how you guys are playing now, and maybe some of the guys that you feel are really making outstanding efforts for you.
Well, I think we're getting better, and I think the key to the fact that we're getting better is our passing game. JT King at quarterback, never played quarterback before this year, has really taken the reins and is doing a real good job. And, our receivers are starting to develop. And so we're not one-dimensional anymore, which we were at the start of the season. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Kind of living and dying by your offensive line, too, at times, aren't you?
Yeah. Tonight they were very good.
Mm-hmm.
They gave JT a lot of time to throw, and we ran the ball, and they controlled the line of scrimmage pretty well.
Well, I know coming into the season, that's, we're talking, you have a good line coming back. And my first, conclusion was, it sounds like you're going to run the ball a lot with this offensive line. And you said the development of the passing game, now you got to have some balance there. But just throw some numbers out. How many times did you throw the ball tonight?
Boy, that's a good question.
Half a dozen, a dozen?
Oh, guys, how many times do you think we threw the ball tonight?
This is what assistants are for.
That's right.
15, probably 15 to 20.
Okay. That's good, because when I saw you against Oak Park, I knew the weather conditions were really not your utmost ideal. You really kept it simple that night.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of choices there. And,
right.
But tonight, we did some nice things throwing the ball.
Okay.
Coach, what's the key to this time of year? You have the postseason just a couple weeks away. You're trying to prepare your kids. The leaves are changing. The weather's changing. How do you get your team ready this time of year to really push towards that ultimate goal?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you got to be healthy. You got to take care of them. You got to kind of read where they're at as far as their legs getting heavy and how much how hard you run them and everything else. And I think that's the biggest thing is being healthy going in.
You're talking about attrition, of course, Kurt. With your schedule, there's not and same thing with the MAC Red and a lot of the really power conferences and divisions in the area. There isn't a whole lot of time to, how should I say, get those players healthy on off weeks.
No, everybody, especially the way our schedule fell with, we got Rochester Adams next week.
That's right.
Quality football team. So, we can't. It's not like you can give somebody a week off and get healthy. The kid's got to suit up and play.
You tried a 2-platoon or?
We really were trying to do that a lot at the start of the year, and then we ran into some issues, and we said, hey, we're just going to put the best 11 out there. And that's kind of what we've been doing. But we run a lot of other kids in and out. And you would think with the number of kids we had, but we're playing a lot of kids two ways, which I don't really like. But you got to do what you got to do.
I was just going to say, you figure out things as the season goes on, what works, what doesn't work.
Yep. Most definitely.
We're talking with Kurt Richardson, the head coach at Clarkson High School. Big win over Lake Orion tonight. And what does it mean to get that 6th win now? So going into next week, it's not imperative that, of course you want to win and have momentum going into the playoffs.
Well, I think next week the whole thing is about home field in the playoffs.
Right.
I think if we win next week, we'll have a good shot at least having 1, maybe 2 home games. So, the league title was nice and everything, but, we got another big goal to go after next week.
How big do you feel that home field advantage is in the playoffs, and you guys have been there quite a bit?
I think it's huge.
Yeah.
I think it's huge.
Why is it so big, Kurt? Is it just the familiarity of your kids dressing in their same locker room, or is it more than that?
Yeah, and the crowd you get, and the kids feed off of that stuff, and it's stuff that we try and talk to them all the time about. They got to eliminate that part and just play the game. Whether it's at midnight in a parking lot with the car lights on, you just got to play the game. But kids are kids, and they get into that stuff. And home field and all that stuff. So.
Okay.
Right on. Well, Coach, you're only 2 years removed from back-to-back state championships, so let's hope you can catch that magic again as you head into next week against Adams and, of course, beyond. Thank you so much for calling in tonight. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Kurt.
We'll see you. Kurt Richardson, head coach at Clarkson High School.
We forgot to mention that 6-2 is a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, Adams is not a gimme next week.
Absolutely not. No doubt about it. And he talked about being healthy.
Right.
So maybe some guys can get healthy. Real quickly, we did have a winner for our trivia question.
That was fast.
Yeah, it was.
I got to get some better ones.
I think it was the first call.
Wow.
Because they were talking.
That.
Well, they were talking to him for a while. I'm sorry, Tom. You got killed this week.
I know.
The question was, we'll reset what was the last year playoff points were the first determining factor for making the playoffs, not 6 victories. And that answer was?
That answer was 1998, fellas. That was the last year that playoff points were the determining factor. And Rob Kronk, how about that for like a football name?
He's got to be a fullback.
Rob Kronk from Burton. Congratulations
Wow,
to you,
we
Rob.
got him up in Burton, huh? Well,
we got him in Adrian. We got him in Burton.
Well,
I've been up to Burton, and I had Hungry Howie's when I was up there.
There you go.
Rob,
Pink
enjoy
boxes.
your pizza. Exactly.
Well, before that, they had the double letters, and it was, it was all playoff points. And you'd have, and obviously, they doubled the amount of teams that made the playoffs after that, too, to go to the divisions. But I still remember some of those teams just crying that they didn't get in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, congratulations. And we're going to take another timeout. Ryan has got a lot of scores. He's got loaded up for you guys. So, we're going to get you caught up on everything. We're going to go conference-wide and talk about all the scores. Plus, we'll have Kevin Moore join us, talk a little bit about the PSL playoffs. And we're going to have a little bit West Side talk. That's what we do every week here. Lots of good stuff. But, of course, we'd like to hear from you as well. 248-539-9797 is the number. We've got Red Wings tickets we're going to give away through our Facebook Live interaction, through Twitter interaction. We've got gift cards. So stay with us here. This is the State Champ Scoreboard on 97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the State Champs Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Join in on the high school football talk. Call us at 248-539-9797 and watch the live stream on the State Champs Network Facebook page. Once again, here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
All right, 45 minutes left to go in the show, and one of the things we pride ourselves are doing, we call it the State Champ Scoreboard, so let's get to some scores. Ryan.
That's right. Let's head around to the Catholic League. Ann Arbor Gabriel Richard. They unfortunately fall to Lansing Catholic tonight. 35-21 is the final there. Brother Rice in that triple overtime thriller. Our winners 20-17 versus Traverse City Central. Divine Child.
Wait a minute. I just want to add there's a winning field goal there. Quentin Kulak, a 20-yard field goal on fourth down. I want to give another shout out to Reuben Williams, 15 tackles for Rice on defense. The game was tied 10-10 at the end of regulation, and both teams missed their opportunities in the first overtime. And then, like Ryan said earlier, they scored touchdowns in the second. It definitely one of those defensive, we got a first down, let's cheer type of game.
The playoff style game really there.
Yes.
Divine Child shuts out Riverview Gabriel Richard 35-0. And then Waterford Our Lady of the Lakes, Mike Sullivan's own, beats Madison Heights Bishop Foley 18-16. Moving over to the PSL, Cass 62 winners over Pershing. Mumford beats Western 26-6. Central over Douglas 52-8. Osborne shuts out Communication Arts 36-0. Renaissance shuts out Henry Ford 35-0. Southeastern and Collegian got together. Collegian comes out on top 41-20. Downriver, Allen Park rolling along 58 over Lincoln Park. Gibraltar Carlson sneaks by Trenton 29-28 is the final there.
A little bit of an upset there.
Yeah, Woodhaven beats Melvindale 49-28 is the final. Moving along to the independent scores, Benton Harbor matching up with Notre Dame Prep. They get the win. Benton Harbor 47-21 over Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. Monroe Jefferson beats Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central.
Definitely an upset.
20-14 is the final. There's some surprising games as teams are desperate, Tom, to get that sixth win. Going out to Macomb, Utica Eisenhower. Well, they wrap things up in the MAC Red with a big victory over Warren Mott. 38-6 is the final there. Macomb Dakota, yeah, go figure. 45-7 they beat Romeo. It's been that kind of season for Dakota. Auburn Hills Avondale 40-0 winners over Madison Heights Lamphere. Clintondale beats New Haven 40-16. Grosse Pointe North beats Roseville 42-14. Grosse Pointe South, meanwhile, clinches the MAC White 20-0 win at Lance Cruz North.
Big win for South there. We talked about them earlier. When we had the winning coach on from the North-South game, they had scored 4 points that night. Then the next week they got 0. So South's bounced back well from those 2 losses.
Shout out to Scott Balla, who actually gave both the Eisenhower and the Grosse Pointe South. He's like our Mac White and Mac Red correspondent in the Facebook live chat. So thanks very much,
Good
Scott.
football there.
Marysville beats St. Clair 28-27. Warren Fitzgerald beats St. Clair Shores Lakeview 40-34. St. Clair Shores South Lake puts a hurting on Clawson 78-31 is the final. Utica Ford and New Baltimore Anchor Bay got together, and Anchor Bay comes out on top 42-25. Port Huron Northern beats Warren Woods Tower 20-14. And then finally in the Kensington Lakes, Walled Lake Western 21-14 winners over White Lake Lakeland. Northville beats Novi 27-19. Canton shuts out Westland John Glenn 49-zip. Heartland beats Grand Blanc 31-28. That was a surprise.
Grand Blanc has really
one.
hit the skids.
Yeah. Brighton beats Howell 41-20. Livonia Churchill beats Wayne Memorial 34-18. Pinckney winners over Milford 45-34 is the final there. And then Walled Lake Northern beats Walled Lake Central 44-19. And we also have a couple of comments from the Facebook live chat. Aline Zimmerman, Davison wins the FVL outright. And then Benjamin wanted us to give a shout out to the Bedford Mules who dominated Dexter. And if you go on Twitter, first, you need to use hashtag SC Scoreboard, communicate with us, and then you're automatically entered in the drawing for Red Wings tickets. But we have on our Twitter, @StateChampsNet, a great moment for Bedford tonight. John Scout, who was diagnosed with brain cancer a year ago, scored a touchdown in Bedford's 48-0 victory tonight. Mule Nation posted it, so @Mule Nation, we retweeted it. You can find it on our Twitter page @StateChampsNet. They show the touchdown and then the whole entire team rushing the field and mobbing this kid who was diagnosed with brain cancer just a year ago. And tonight he scores a touchdown for Bedford. So congratulations to John Scout and to the entire Bedford community. Great moment for them.
Gotta love those human interest stories there. What a great moment that must have been on that field.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. The video, it's cool. Go online, check it out. Also use hashtag SC Scoreboard, and maybe you can win some Red Wings tickets as well.
I do want to share one other comment, too. We mentioned Benton Harbor and their win. They're undefeated. And this is the best season they've had since 1985. They did beat Grand Rapids South Christian. They beat Traverse City West,
which I thought was their best win.
Yep, they just beat Notre Dame Prep. They're going to play Muskegon Heights again next week, who they'd already beaten 47-6 in week 3.
Looks like they'll compete in Division 4. I mean, they're kind of like one of those.
They made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Yep, got to the second round, lost to Zeeland West.
Right. What a job Elliot Uzelac has done there. They could not win a game.
Right.
Yeah. They couldn't win a game.
The only team they beat was themselves.
For years. Right. And now they can't lose.
I know. I think they're a scary team in the playoffs because of a number of reasons. Granted, their schedule isn't that great, but look at those teams we just mentioned. Grand Rapids, South Christian, maybe a little down this year, but they're still South Christian. They're going to play competitive football. And Traverse City West is a heck of a football team. So I think they're one of those, kind of unknowns. And if I'm another team and I got to play them in the playoffs, I better get a whole bunch of film on them.
Well, and they're so young. I mean, they have a lot of guys with the experience of last season winning that game. They did not graduate a ton. And, they are scary because you look at their tape and you're not sure how to judge them. They don't play in a league this time around. I think that they could definitely be a force in the Division 4 playoffs. And they're missing some teams. Remember, last year, Zeeland West knocked them out. It looks like Zeeland West could be up to Division 3.
Correct. So that'd be a favor
they could have a good path to the regional.
They had 4 wins in 8 years before last season. And
they couldn't win when Joik Bell was there. That's how much trouble that program was in.
No doubt about it. So, all right, we're going to bring in Kevin Moore now. We're going to talk a little PSL football, and let's talk a little PSL playoffs. Obviously, the scheduling is a little wacky.
Suspect.
What's your take on this, Kevin?
Yeah, the schedule threw me off with this year's format. So it was the top 8 teams in the whole PSL from Division 1 and Division 2, and so the 8 teams. So most of them are Division 1 teams.
Right, 6 out of the 8.
Yep, 6 out of the 8, and the rest are D2. So Well, today, Mumford, they beat Western 26-6, so they'll play the winner of Detroit Cody and Detroit Denby, so that would be one PSL championship matchup. And then Cass Tech, they rolled over Persian today, so they'll play the winner of East English and King, so that would be the second PSL.
Kevin, I don't want to disagree with you. I don't even know if Alvin Ward knows the matchups for the state or for the city championship game yet. From what my understanding, they won't determine who's going to play for the Division I title until Monday, or officially Monday. So there might be some rumors. Meaning, you have the number 2 seed is Mumford. I would not be surprised. I'm telling you right now, I would not be surprised to see Mumford play Cass Tech for the Division I title.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. But I saw that on Twitter that Cass would face the winner of King or East English. But like you said, I wouldn't be surprised either if Mumford, because Mumford has had a good season,
right?
And I feel like they deserve to play Cass Tech in the championship. But like I said, with the whole setup, I don't really approve of it.
Here's my thinking. If Mumford's good enough to play Cass Tech in the finals, why didn't they play East English or King, which that would be my first choice, in the semifinal? If you can't beat King in the semifinal, which is the second best team, second place finisher in the Cass, then I don't think you should play Cass Tech in the final.
Right, I totally agree with you.
But that's guys. That's how it's being laid out, because Mumford, having not lost a game yet, gets the 2 seed.
Right.
King lost a game to Cass, which is okay. So instead of ranking these teams like you want to, I think, Tom, by just quality of opponent, you are going strictly by numbers. By numbers, Mumford's the number 2 seed, so they have to play the 7 seed, which is Western, and that puts King against East English, and that's why they're playing each other. So you're going to end up. But then you're not rewarding the number 2 seed. How can you have your number 2 and not have your number 2 play your number 1? Then how can you just make that change?
I don't know. I have to
look
at
PSO at its finest. Kevin, we all know who the 2 best teams are.
Yeah,
it's Cass and it's King. So, I mean, if King's number 3 and they need to play Cass, let them play Cass, but then don't put Mumford at number 2.
That's right. And the problem is they won't play in the playoffs because they're in 2 different divisions.
Correct.
So we won't get to see that gaming. And, hey, Kevin, real quick, we're up against a break, but real quick, talk quickly on your thoughts about East English and King tomorrow at noon.
It's another rematch. They just played the week before. They get to
play again,
gets a revenge on King. So I still think King is going to take this one again. They're going to step up. It's a lot on the line for both teams again. And I think King will come out victorious once again. I think Coach Spencer over there at King, I think he'll get his guys ready for Rod Oden's East English Bulldogs, and King will be victorious in my opinion.
Yeah, I went with East English, and don't ask me why. I figured they played them close last week, and I figured maybe Ambry Thomas won't go nuts again and score all these touchdowns and come up with all these big plays, which is not a good usually bet that Ambry Thomas won't be doing something out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, hey Kevin, thanks, bud.
Oh no problem. Hey Tom, and my guys at the Detroit News told me to tell you,
Hey, okay, thanks.
All right.
Yeah, I saw a couple tonight.
Yeah, we did. We saw a couple out there at the Fortune game. Okay, guys, we're going to take another time out. Scott Bernstein will come up on the other side of this, and Ryan will give his West Side chat. We'll get that in before we end this show. Another half hour to go here on the State Champs Scoreboard, so stay with us. We got some prizes to give away. Red Wings tickets coming up, as well as $50 gift cards for Fifth Avenue and Blackfin restaurants. So interact with us. You can do it on Twitter at StateChampsNet, of course, on the Facebook Live chat. Do it now and do it often. We'll talk to you right after this quick timeout here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the State Champs Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Join in on the high school football talk. Call us at 248-539-9797 and watch the live stream on the State Champs Network Facebook page. Once again, here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the State Champ Scoreboard. 30 minutes ago here, we appreciate your patronage, and we appreciate your input on the social media, of course, as well as you can give us a call if you want to talk high school football. Of course, the guy who gives us a call each and every week is State Champ's own Scott Bernstein. Writes a great blog called Bernie's Bites, so you can find it at statechampsnetwork.com. We'll talk a little bit about that before we let him go tonight. First off, Scotty, you were out at Bloomfield Hills in Berkeley. That one on paper seemed a lot better than what the final result was.
Yeah, 42-16. Bloomfield Hills, they're still undefeated at 8-0, and I would say, surprise winners of the OAA Blue. I didn't predict them. I actually predicted Berkeley to win the OAA Blue to start the season, but wasn't much of a game, and Bloomfield Hills is really clicking on all cylinders right now and kind of having a throwback to some of those Dan Loria Losser teams of the 2000s. He took 3 teams to the Division II Final Four.
Now, Bernie, Markowski here. I got it. Yeah. You've seen Bloomfield Hills play. They really haven't played a tough schedule. And you've seen Rochester Adams play. If they played each other, what's the point spread on that game?
I'd say Adams by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, that's my
just
question.
Because of the white is brutal and the blue is less so. But
could you see possibly Bloomfield Hills beating a team like Adams?
I mean, anything can happen. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if somehow they met in the playoffs and pulled the upset. They got a lot of the pieces. They got a really good quarterback, and this guy named John Paddock, who came over from Brother Rice, was a Brother Rice JV quarterback last year. He was downright.
So now Brother Rice is everybody else's feeding school?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I did a blog about this last week. Brother Rice had 4 quarterbacks in their program last year that are starting at various varsity programs outside of Brother Rice, with the exception of Mariano Valente.
Well,
no one wants to sit behind the Valente kid.
Hey, Scott, I'm happy the Catholics are generous.
But Johnny Paddock went Tom Brady tonight. He had 330 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
Spread it out to 4 different receivers.
Is he a big kid?
He's about 6'1", not huge, but he's got some
decent
size. A lot of composure and poise in the pocket.
Okay,
nice arm. He only missed on 3 passes today. I think he was 10 of 13. Just looked real strong. Can throw the deep ball. Can throw the underneath routes. And as a leader, I mean, after they clinched the buzzer sounded and they clinched, and he was waiting there for every one of his teammates to go past him, so he could give them a hug and a high five before they went and celebrated at midfield. He was kind of like the gatekeeper to the celebration.
Well, the interesting thing will be is they're taking on a Lake Orion team next week that
should be a good barometer.
And they just have 5 wins. Lake Orion's going to want to win that to get in the playoffs. So that should be a good barometer and a great test for them heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, and they got a couple of those basketball kids that helped Bloomfield Hills win a share of the OA White last year on the hardwood. A guy named Kewan Graham, who it looks like we talked about Elijah Collins in our extra point tomorrow, the running back from Jesuit, who we kind of originally, when he came on the scene, we thought of him as a basketball player, and it turned out that he's actually probably headed to football at the next level. Kewan Graham might be another one of these kids. He's been starting on varsity at basketball since his sophomore year, but this was his first real year, playing a full football season, and he's turned into a big play wide receiver. I can see his future, working out much better as a 6-foot wide receiver going underneath than a 6-foot point guard. Those are kind of a dime a dozen.
Scott Bernstein joining us here on the State Champ Scoreboard Show. Scott, moving to another situation over at Southfield A&T, this is a team that some people had some big expectations for this year. What about that quarterback situation over there? What can you tell us about what's been developing over there?
Well, give congratulations to the staff at A&T as well as the backup quarterback, John Darby. Went down to Oxford, his first varsity start, and replacing Sam Johnson, star sophomore quarterback, Division I recruit, who has got some bumps and bruises that are going to keep on the shelf possibly until the first round of the playoffs. And Darby, they come up with a more than a 2-touchdown win on the road on the Smurf turf in Oxford. And I talked to Tim Conley last week and said, "Are you changing anything? Are you paring down your your sets, and he said, we're not going to change one thing, and our second stringers. This is Conley talking. Our second stringers get a ton of reps, and we try to put our second string quarterback through a pretty rigorous practice schedule just for exact moments like this. And I didn't see Darby's stats, but they put up 35 points. So
yeah, he produced.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also had one of the things, never too soon to start talking hoops, right, Bern?
Yeah, so last week, Michael Covington, the former Pontiac Northern Star and Oakland University basketball player, along with Jeff Jason, who was an All-American at Aquinas and is now the head coach at his alma mater, Waterford Mott, they hosted their first basketball showcase. It was called the Skills Over Politics Elite 80. They had 80 of the best kids in the 80 of the best kids in the whole state came out, and you had a lot of Mr. Basketball candidates, Jamal Cain, etc. Just a lot of talent on the hardwood out at Waterford Mott earlier this week, and they got a lot of good workouts and had a lot of scouts out there looking at them, and you just could kind of feel basketball emanating. It's in the air. We've only got a couple weeks until practice starts, and as much as I love football, love basketball, I love seeing these top prospects stay in the state of Michigan.
And
so many of them that are leaving. And
you said Greg Elliott was probably MVP of the event, huh?
Yeah, Greg Elliott won the MVP of the event. A kid that everyone should keep their eye out. He's a freshman at Detroit Northwestern. His name is Steve Pearson.
Wow.
He can jump out of the gym.
How big?
He's only about 6'2", but but he's 15.
I was going to say he's a freshman. 6'2". That's pretty good.
Yeah, but he's got ridiculous hops, and him and Jamal Cain kind of went back and forth.
Oh, did they?
In a scrimmage. I'll jam and then see if you could slam dunk better than I can, and then I'll try to take that and one up you. So,
I like Greg Elliott, and I know a lot of people aren't talking about him as far as the Mr. Basketball race, but he's my dark horse, and I'm not saying he's going to win it, but he's gonna give some people people open some eyes.
He was our top junior last year.
And then they also had probably the hottest unknown commodity, or at least unknown commodity to the masses right now, is someone coming out of Henry Ford Academy in Dearborn Heights.
Right.
A very small school.
Kid.
His name is Travion Williams.
Right.
The 6'9" forward. Michigan State's already offered him.
Did they? Wow.
So, he's only a junior. It should be interesting to see the next 2 years.
Yeah.
This kid is a real prize.
Yeah. I hear he's got no team. I hear it's him and nobody else.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not. When they said Henry Ford, I thought they were talking about, Ken Flowers, Henry Ford.
But a lot more parity in the PSL in basketball than there is in football.
I would love to see that kid play in the PSL. He's at a charter school.
Yeah, I know. But they will play. I'm sure they'll schedule some teams.
A couple of kids have made the move from the charter schools into the PSL, specifically David DeJulius, point guard at Detroit Edison, is now going to be at the point guard at East English Village with Greg Elliott.
Right.
Then Xavion Godwin, another top junior, made the move from Roseville to Detroit East English Village. So that should be an interesting team setup.
Crazy to think that we're talking about basketball
we're already into it.
Guys.
We'll have 3 shows in January to talk about it.
And Scott Bernstein will be helping us out then, too. You can read his stuff online, statechampsnetwork.com. Bernie, always great to talk to you, my man.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, Scott.
That's Scott Bernstein, and once again, you can check him out on State Champs Extra Point tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Channel 7 ABC. Coming up, it's our final segment, and that means your last chance to win Red Wings tickets. Get on Twitter, use the hashtag #SCScoreboard, and you'll be entered in the drawing to win those Red Wings tickets on October 25th. Also, $50 to Blackfin, $50 to Fifth Avenue in Royal Oak. We'll be giving it away to some lucky winners in the Facebook Live chat. You can find it and quick participate at State Champs Network on Facebook, or also at 97.1 The Ticket. We're coming back with more scores, prizes to give away. You're listening to the State Champs Scoreboard Show right here on 97.1.
Welcome back to the State Champs Scoreboard, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Possible is everything. Join in on the high school football talk. Call us at 248-539-9797. And and watch the live stream on the State Champs Network Facebook page. Once again, here are your hosts, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski, and Ryan Terpstra.
Welcome back to the State Champs Scoreboard. Ryan Terpstra, Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski. We're going to take you home tonight and then back to some great Detroit sports talk here on 97.1 The Ticket. But we are going to give away some winners and some great prizes tonight from the Detroit Red Wings, from Blackfin, from Fifth Avenue and Royal Oak. We already gave away Hungry Howie's Pizza. We'd love to reward the fans out there. And thank you for listening to our program here on 97.1 The Ticket. Facebook Live is where we had a chance to pick two winners, and our first winner was Len Perota, who had a couple of comments, one about Allen Park winning big, another congratulations to Dearborn and their first win over Fordson in 3 years. So Len Perota wins $50 to Blackfin, and congratulations to Len, and then $50 to Fifth Avenue in Royal Oak goes to Christopher Thomas Byrne, who also posted some scores for us. So we congratulate both those gentlemen. Enjoy your free $50 and enjoy those quality establishments, some really good food. Take the family out and enjoy a nice night on the town this time of year.
To get the fans involved. That's good stuff.
And I did say I was notified that I said the wrong date about when to come pick it up. I said, you got to pick it up by Thursday, October 13th. That would have been
yesterday.
Already late. So,
that was yesterday.
Next Thursday. Yes, the 20th. Come pick it up. You're going to have to pick it up at our Southfield studios. We'll get in touch with you. We'll give you our address, but you need to do it before then. Otherwise, the prizes go back in the pot, or I'll take them.
All right. Well, that means Scott Whitmer has got to come get his Red Wings tickets because he's the winner after using the hashtag SC Scoreboard. So guys have been listening all year. I enjoy it. And he was at the West Bloomfield game tonight as they took care of Athens. So congratulations, Scott Whitmer. He wins those Red Wings tickets for October 25th. October 25th over at the Joe. And he's going to have fun at that one because
Carolina's in town.
Joe.
Yeah,
Carolina.
That's what I was looking for. It's like I remember,
Carolina.
Last time it was not Carolina. It's going to be up against the Hurricanes, and get a good look at maybe a couple former Red Wings.
Yeah, I bought the
coming
tickets.
back to town.
I bought the tickets on the company card, and they're good ticks.
Absolutely. Hey, check out State Champs Extra Point tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Some of the scores from the games that you'll see on there. Brother Rice beats Traverse City Central 20-17 in triple overtime. Bloomfield Hills remains undefeated. Just talked about that with Scott Bernstein. 42-16 winners over Berkeley. Clarkston beats Lake Orion. Congratulations to them. Thanks to Coach Richardson for calling in tonight. 45-16 was the final there. Brighton beats Howell 41-20. Northville over Novi 27-19. Eisenhower wins their portion of the league 38-6 over Mott. Richmond beats Algonac 28-13. Hamtramck 46-6 winners over Harperwood's Pioneer. And finally, Linden outlasts Holly 30-27 is the final.
You know, it's an interesting. Next week, you're going to have a lot of teams who are hoping to get in the playoffs. And a matchup right off the top of my head, Chippewa Valley, who had some really good seasons recently. They were real young this year. They're 5-3. They're going to play New Baltimore Anchor Bay next week. They're 5-3. The way I'm looking at these playoff points, winners in, losers out.
We had so many 5-4s last year. Do you expect that to be the case this year?
I think you're going to see a lot. And maybe not as many, but I think upwards to 20.
Well, that's going to be interesting, too, because, guys, that affects how the divisions shake out.
Right.
That's right.
Because if they need to fill divisions, they're going to start bumping people down.
That's a good point.
And moving people up.
And it also changes the districts.
Yeah.
You know, like an OK Red, for example. You're going to throw a Hudsonville, Granville, Rockford. Are you going to get an East Kentwood in there, too? You could have 4 OK Red teams in one district, which would be murder.
Wow. It seems to happen almost every year, but then somebody always gets plucked from the Lansing area. It seems like Holt or Grand Ledge or somebody like that gets stuck in the OK Red round robin there in Division One.
Or one of the Traverse City schools, when they are Division One, will be a sacrificial lamb.
They do not want to do that again. How about Traverse City Central and Brother Rice? I mean, Traverse City Central having a very nice year. Travels down.
That's
Brother
a good
Rice.
loss. I know you don't like to come all this way and lose a game, but to play 3 overtimes down here, that'll do them well down the road.
Well, I mean, that was the first time that these two teams had met since 1993.
Yeah, that's when...
Brother Rice trying to make the playoffs for the 17th time in the last 18 years, too, guys. So that was an important victory for them.
No doubt.
They'll have a crossover next week, and I'm not sure who they're playing yet. We'll have to find out.
Well, we'll find out. Don't check the PSL schedule, though, if you want to know.
Yeah, most likely if Rice gets in,
we already talked
I think
about
we'll
that.
see him play Groves
in
the playoffs. Maybe
that would
first
be
or second
interesting.
round. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because Rice played Seaholm already to start the year, so naturally they got to play Groves this year, right? And make that trifecta complete.
That's what I mean. That's like Snooze has got that kind of laid out right now.
Yes, he does.
And I think that looks pretty accurate as to how that would go.
Yeah, because Berkeley will get in. I think they're going to win their sixth game next week.
Yep.
Cousino has already got 6 wins. That's who he has in that one district bracket. The Groves Rice game would be something.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of it.
It really would. It would be great. And there you go. It's going to give Groves that say, are you legit? You know, you beat Rice here, then I think they would easily win the district.
I like this.
I believe Groves, Coach Flaherty, is our coach of the week on Extra Point tomorrow, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's earned it.
I like this other district, too, where you have King, Oak Park, and UAD Jesuit.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
It's going to be interesting.
Franklin's been interesting.
We didn't really get to the West Side report, guys, but one thing that actually it sprouted up from the Facebook live chat, and I wanted
Byron Center score over Zeeland East. We have to talk about
that.
62-14.
I do not understand the OK Green. And it's very rare that you can say that because normally you just say Zeeland West and move on.
No, it's not. And Zeeland West actually struggled tonight. And another team that I thought was going to get in, Greenville, they lost to Wyoming. Now Greenville's going to have to win next week to get in. So that's a really competitive but not overly, no top-heavy teams there.
Well, moving through, because the reason I wanted to bring it up was because of our poll. Because we asked the question, what current undefeated team had the toughest schedule so far in 2016? Turns out the Detroit Catholic Central wins the poll, 42% of the vote. Cass Tech was second at 25%, Eisenhower 22%, and then Saline had 11%. If you go by strict playoff points, guys, Lowell actually has the most playoff points, though, of any of those undefeated teams. So they've got a very strong schedule. They've come from behind the last 2 weeks, which Tom thinks has actually been a good thing for them.
I think that gives them a lot of experience in what happens if you're in a district final, for example, and you're down 7 with 8 minutes to go. What do you rely back on? What do you reach back for? If you've been in that situation before, it's like, hey guys, you're the quarterback in the huddle. We've been here. Let's come and do it.
Sean Carney on our Facebook live chat says, hey, Lowell's got the best front four in the state this year. There's no way they're going to lose. If you watch them against Warren De La Salle, you probably believe that statement.
Well, De La Salle didn't have a great offense this year, but their defense was real tough. So, hey, when playoffs come around, you can't discount Mr. Noel Dean.
No, you cannot. It's almost like he's intentionally preparing these kids in these games against Forest Hills Central and Forest Hills Northern, where he's all right, guys, let's see what we're made of if we can come back on these guys.
Forest Hills Central's had a good season.
They won again tonight.
I want to follow up quickly on the Benton Harbor thing too. Looking at prognostications in Division 4, I think they'd get out of their district. Three Rivers is who they would probably play for the district finals. We're a 6-1 team going into tonight. Unity Christian would be in the regionals.
Oh, okay.
If they can get by Kelloggsville, most likely.
Well, that was the thing last year is Benton Harbor ran into Zeeland West. And Zeeland West won the title.
Yes.
So, good grief. But that's the kind of team, Unity Christian, that it would be very interesting to see what happens when Benton Harbor plays them, because, Tom, you know how hard it is to simulate the wing T in practice. And that's a school, Benton Harbor, where you just don't have a ton of depth.
Right.
And they just haven't developed it yet because of their program. And it's hard when you don't have a ton of depth to get the practice look that you need when you play a team like Unity that runs that wing T offense.
And West will be in 3 most likely this year.
It looks that way.
As long as those 5 and 4 teams don't screw things up, because that Zeeland West is a candidate to be pushed back down to Division 4, where Division 4 looked a little bit more wide open this year without them.
Yes, no question about it.
Looking at Division 4, before. It is really wide open. If News to You is correct, Grand Rapids Catholic's got a great chance to get to the semis, if not to the finals.
Though I believe they lost tonight.
Yeah, the West Catholic. That's not a bad loss, though. It's okay. It's a 7-1 record now. And on the other end, Country Day's still undefeated. They're 7-0 playing UAD Jesuit tomorrow. That'll be an interesting.
Well, there you go. It's all interesting, and we are going to get into it next week. Week 9, of course. I can't believe it, boys, that we're already coming up to Week 9. It's insane. Playoffs start in 2 weeks. And, of course, we're here through all the football season here on 97.1 The Ticket. Quickly, just a reminder, check out State Champs Extra Point tomorrow at 10 a.m. on WXYZ Channel 7, up to 12 games here from Southeast Michigan. Our Coach of the Week is Coach Flaherty from Birmingham Groves, and a lot of other good stuff to watch on the show. Also, make sure you check out State Champs on Sunday at 9 a.m. for all the statewide football highlights. That's it, guys. We'll see you next week.